Days ago, I had Seth Shostak on from SETI, and they were telling, he was telling us how they're working out this new array of telescopes and how they're going to communicate via radio waves. Mm-hmm. You don't think we need radio waves, do you?
Well, actually, we do. A harmonic set generator, or a transmitter and receiver, does use radio waves, but it uses them in harmonic sets as opposed to frequencies. And I actually heard this from a very, very high profile physicist whose name I can't mention, but he actually told me that the hidden harmonic codes in the differentials were kept hidden in secret by physicists. They really know about them, but they don't want to educate mainstream public about them because the military broadcasts using hidden harmonic codes faster than light, instantaneous communication already. They're actually already doing this, and that there are free energy devices that are very, very small that I'm producing, like, maybe 3 times over unity in my first device, but he said they have ones that produce 5,000 times over unity. And this physicist is very, very high profile. They don't want us to know about it because they don't want us to know, for one, where ETs are really broadcasting and transmitting and receiving, because literally they have already mastered this. It's instantaneous. It's not the speed of light. Radio waves transmit at the speed of light, which is too slow at 670 million miles an hour or 186,000 miles a second between star systems. It takes too long. For example, the Pleiades are 440 light years from Earth, so any information that travels in a light wave or a radio wave from that star system would take over 400 years to get here.
And then if we get one back, another 400 years.
Yeah, so we're looking
800 years.
Yeah, but if the military knows about this, if very, very high-level programs in our military-industrial complex know where ET is broadcasting and receiving, then the Seth Shostaks of the world and SETI, need to reorient themselves into this possibility. I mean, Seth has to know about action at a distance. Einstein's action at a distance violates the speed of light limit. It is instantaneous. And in fact, in my upcoming DVD, Quantum Communication, we have all of the research that has been done on mental telepathy in Russia, and also by Gary Schwartz at Tucson, and measuring the time delay is absolutely zero on communicating with the mind. So knowing that the mind in the brain is a harmonic set generator, which I can actually demonstrate, and that's probably where, in fact, that's where I know from all of my sources that the hidden harmonic codes are where our highest levels of intelligence are broadcasting and receiving. Then what I would say to Seth Shostak is that, look, you guys have been looking in radio waves for decades and decades, and you're finding nothing but white noise. But why not, talk to me? I will show him how to do this. It's really not that hard to build a set of wave generators, which are radio coils, but they're in harmonic sets. You just have to know how to do the math, and the math is actually really simple, which I teach people in the book, And so if we build an array of radio telescopes that are in a harmonic set, I think we might start to see something. And also, you can do smaller scale models just using radio coils in smaller sets to do the same thing. Well, let's detour into crop circles for a moment before we go into in which star system I'm actually going to attempt to make contact.
All right. Is there a significance here with the crop circles?
There really is, because if you understand the counter-rotational spins in all of the circles, and I use Steve and Karen Alexander's photos because they're so clear and beautiful, you can basically do the mathematics and find out how to take that. It's almost like a blueprint, and rebroadcast exactly in that same paradigm back to them, the very beings that created the circle. If you look at the counter-rotational spins in my swimming pool experiment, and you see that those produce geometries and in vibrational patterns that are very resemblant and reminiscent of crop circles, you'll really understand what's going on here. There is a communication in the crop circles, and you have to eliminate all of the man-made ones and get to the real ones.
Right, but all you need is one real one, David.
All you need is one real one, and once you determine that the grass is not stepped on and has the bend, and you have enough evidence to it's real, then it's worth doing the math on, which I can do. And then we can actually build a wave generator in that exact dimension and ratios to send a message. So you can broadcast, for example, your show through a harmonic set wave generator. You don't have to change the actual audio file itself. It's the way you broadcast it. And I believe harmonic set broadcasting and receiving travels through the singularity or Einstein's action at a distance, and it's instantaneous. And that is what I'm hearing from. I mean, I have multiples of PhDs that are reading this book right now, and they're just flipping out over it because they said this is the real truth. This is really how the universe works. And even if you look at some very obvious differentials, I'll make some really easy for people. For example, we're spinning on the Earth right now at 1,000 miles an hour at the equator, but we're not thrown off. Because counter to the throw, the centrifugal force, is the pull of gravity. The two of them compete with each other, and they're not equal. The leftover force is slightly stronger on the pull than the throw. But here's another differential, very, very simple. It's a warm day, no wind, and all of a sudden this cloud comes floating by and it covers the sun. When it covers the sun, wherever that shadow of the cloud is, it gets colder or cooler. In that space, all of a sudden the wind just rushes. It creates wind out of nothing. The differential between the hot and the cold. Now think of dark energy and dark matter, which are a polarity themselves. And that there is a competition between those two. Dark matter produces an attractive force, and dark energy produces negative pressure, right? There's a new study at the University of Lyon in France that's actually calling dark energy and dark matter dark liquid. Because, I mean, this is an amazing paper I just read, that it's actually a fluid. And this fluid, the whole universe is sitting in.
And it may be protected by it, by the way.
Yeah, just like, for example, water. What's really interesting is photons or light move slower through water than they do through air, right?
Yep.
They move slower through air mass just a little bit than they move through space. And you can slow light waves all the way down in an absolute zero Einstein boson condensate. So you can manipulate the speed with which light moves. So if the whole universe is a liquid, and Hubble in the far ultraviolet has verified that a lot of dark matter is just invisible or super high frequency hydrogen in the ultraviolet, then we are kind of sitting in a liquid, and that would explain why light travels so slow. But here's where it gets interesting. If dark matter and its opposite, they're not equal, when you compare expansion, the Hubble expanding universe against gravity, gravity is slightly weaker than expansion. So between those two pairs, you don't have an equal and opposite as well. You have a differential vibration between them. So how do you get zero-point energy to move even from dark energy and dark matter and make it physical? Well, my paper in differentials discovers mathematically that just like if you rub your two hands together in opposite directions, you create kind of a vortex or a vacuum in the space between them. These differentials are everywhere around us, from the quantum universe to the macro universe, and they're creating kind of a suction, a vortex suction that pulls and converts dark energy and dark matter into visible mass energy. Which,
do you think we can travel this way as well, though, through this?
Exactly. Through these harmonic codes we can travel, and that's, again, what I believe could be happening in the pyramids. Now, of course, I'm very conservative. When you get a theory, you have to test it. Now, what's fun about having a lab is you can actually do some really fun experiments and see that this is happening. Now, to broadcast a message to the extraterrestrials, it's actually going to be fairly simple for me. I'm picking the Pleiades star system because I believe that's where the ETs were from the UFOs that visited me in 1968. After my experience with that craft, I suddenly, when I played hide-and-go-seek with my friends, I counted to 100 while they're all hiding, looking at that star system and not even knowing why. I've already done the math on that star system, and in its relationship to the observer, in quantum mechanics, there's something called the observer and the observed. That as you're looking at something, you're actually becoming energetically entangled with it. You see, and once you're entangled with something energetically in the quantum universe and then you separate them at a distance, the communication is instantaneous. So all you have to know is the harmony of whatever you want to look at in the universe, anywhere you want to communicate or go, so that you can entangle yourself with its vibration. And we know, and this is verified over and over again, any entangled system can communicate faster than light instantaneously. So I've done the math on the Pleiades star system, so I know the codes. And what's interesting, in the beginning I thought it was flawed. I thought, there's no way you can do this, David, because in a three-dimensional space, 2 dimensions is height and width, so it's like a flat sheet of paper. When we look at any star system, we're seeing it kind of like a flat sheet of paper. We don't know if 7 stars are together, what their true distances from each other are, because some might be further back and some might be further forward from each other, for example.